Hey guys, welcome back to Road Trip Central. Today we're in southern Idaho, a slightly different location than where we were for the Camaro video, as it should be quite apparent. This is high desert. It's early winter. Right now it's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. The sun's only been up for a couple of hours. Today we're going to be driving to Craters of the Moon National Monument, which is about an hour and a half in that general direction. We're going to have some wide open roads where we'll be able to test out this Infiniti Q50 that I'm renting. Let's go check it out. Alright, so I want to talk to you about some of my first impressions of the car. I've rented an Infiniti Q50 before, but it was a 2-liter turbo with all-wheel drive. And the 2-liter turbo is very underpowered. I would strongly recommend the 3-liter V6 with the twin turbos that this one's equipped with. It develops 300 horsepower and about 295 pound-feet of torque. And that torque is very available throughout pretty much the entire rev range. It picks up quick. They do 0 to 60 in, from what I've read, about 5 seconds flat. And I do not doubt it. Not one bit. So one thing that you've probably already noticed is that this car isn't very loud. It doesn't sound particularly mean. It does have 300 horsepower, and I think that it should sound like it does have 300 horsepower. But this is rather mild. You'd probably be better off getting the Cadillac ATS with the 3.6 liter if you're wanting something that sounds a bit more aggressive. And I'm not saying the Cadillac sounds aggressive, but it's a little better. Let's quickly summarize some of the strengths that the Q50 has. Not just any Q50, but the Q50s with the 3-liter twin-turbo V6. Their engine is good. I'd even call it excellent for a rental car. And there aren't very many other 4-door rental cars that you can get out there with a better engine option. Another strength, I would say, would be how it looks. I'm a fan of the Infiniti's styling that they've had for the past few years, at least. I feel like they've been doing a good job. Aside from that, the car is overall good, but I wouldn't say it's outstanding, or necessarily better than a lot of the other cars that it's trying to compete with in the luxury lineup. That was 80 miles an hour. It's crazy. So with all of these open roads in Idaho, I get to cruise along at just 90 miles an hour. Don't have to worry about anything going on around you because nothing's going on around you. interior of the car is good. I like the leather seats. I like black leather seats, I guess, especially. The user interface is decent. I think that the touchscreen looks slick in it. It doesn't look too cheap. And maybe it's because it's one of the reflective surfaces rather than being one of the matte surfaces that you see in other cars. However, I would like to point out that the buttons for the air conditioning, they're all buttons. There are no knobs to control it. I find that somewhat frustrating personally, just because I prefer to keep my eyes on the road while trying to adjust the air conditioning. And you can't really do that if you have to look over and see which button you're pushing. Another weakness that I might find with the car is the handling. It's not confidence inspiring, so it's kind of hard to judge just what this car can do without taking it to a track. Simply because the car doesn't inspire very much confidence in its handling abilities. Yeah, I can tell how fast it can accelerate and how well it can brake, but on public roads where there's no runoff and where, you know, if I cross over a line it could cause a head-on collision, I don't want to be pushing past what it feels like it can do. And sadly, what it feels like it can do in handling isn't very much. It's got a little bit of body roll. Its steering isn't incredibly direct, and actually the steering is kind of numb. It's hard to feel what's going on with the car, and that can be a problem. That can be a huge problem if you're really trying to drive it close to its limits. So if you're not already aware, Craters of the Moon is where the hot spot that's currently under Yellowstone used to be. So there's tons of volcanic rock and weird formations that they've got. At one point in time, rumor has it, everybody thought that this spot would be what the surface of the moon looked like. Holy cow, look at that. That's beautiful. I haven't been here in years, and I've never been here in winter, and I kind of forgot how gorgeous that is. Well, this is just about as far as I can take us. The roads are closed for the winter, so all I can do is stop at the visitor center, and I can go in there and learn about Craters of the Moon, or I can sit here and talk to you about the car. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so here we are at Craters of the Moon, the end of the video, which means I've got to figure out what title or award to give this car. And I've been thinking about it, and it's not that easy. Because honestly, it's not the best rental car that I've ever driven. The Camaro SS still holds that title. I can't even say it's the most fun I've had in a four-door rental car, because I'd prefer the Cadillac CTS V Sport. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad car. It's a good car. In fact, it's an excellent rental car. The V6 offers plenty of power. I mean, 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. You can't really go wrong with that in a rental car. But the car itself just isn't outstanding to me in any particular way. It's not the best in any of these categories. Yes, I think it's a good-looking car. I think it's got a great engine. And I would even say that for what it is, it handles decently. But how am I supposed to say it's the best if it's not the best in any of those? I guess, without getting too specific with my awards, hopefully, I would confidently say that this is the most fun I've had in an Infiniti. So there you go. The 2018 Infiniti Q50 with the 3-liter twin-turbo V6. The most fun I've had in an Infiniti. There you have it. Never gonna be able to get this video finished. Shouldn't be shooting this on a highway. And another car